How's it going, aliens? My name's iALiEN. Today I'm back on another Identity 5 video. Today I will be doing my updated Survivor tier list ranking video. I had been getting many requests for a new one, an updated one to include the new characters, the new balance changes, and just a new tier list since a lot has changed since my original tier list. It's been the most popular video on my channel, so I said why not make another one? So let's get right into the video. Okay, so before I get into the tier list, I have a few things to say. One, I'll have my Discord server link in the comment section below. Please join it if you have any questions. I, of course, answer all of my comments, but that's the easiest way for me to answer your questions. Also, for you to play with me, that's the easiest way for you to play with me. Sorry for my voice. I'm still feeling sick. A little sick, but I feel much better, so I feel good enough to make this video. And this tier list is based off of my opinions, along with the opinions of high tier play, the meta in the global version and the Chinese version, what I've seen through high tier streams of the Chinese version, high tier gameplay, my experience in high tier gameplay in both versions. That's what this is based off of. And a lot of the lower characters I'm not going to be that in depth about, because I was more in depth in my original tier list. So if you want to know more about them, you can go watch that video. The tier list will be in the comments below in the pinned comment. So let me explain how the tier list works. There's 4 tiers. There's C tier, B tier, A tier, and S tier. C tier is the worst characters in the game. They can still be fun. You can use them in quick play, but they're just the worst characters in the game. B tier is not the worst characters in the game. They can be used like situational, and sometimes they can even be used in high tier play for a couple of them. But most of the time they aren't useful and they aren't used in high tier play. But they may be able to pass. A tier are characters that are used in high tier play but may not always be used. Or may be seen as by some people as bad characters, but by other people as good characters. But they can fly. You can use them in high tier play. And then S tier is the best characters in the game. You always see them in high tier play. You always will in both global and the Chinese game. They are in high tier play. So let's start off with C tier. Okay, the worst character in the game. I start off my last tier list video by saying the worst character in the game, not named Lucky Guy, was Gardner. Now I can officially say the worst character in the game is Gardner. She doesn't have that many downsides, but there's no real reason to use her. There's no real reason to use Gardner, as every other character does what she does better. Heck, if you want to dismantle chairs, you might as well pick Lucky Guy, to be honest. Her decoding isn't that helpful. You don't really need help with calibrations in high tier play. So if you have fun with her, keep using her, keep having fun. But overall, she's just not that good of a character. Next is Explorer. Much of the same story with him. His book is just not useful. Good, competent hunters will easily be able to find an Explorer and will know that he shrunk. Even with max airwalk and his built-in trait, you can still find them. And the time you could be spending hiding is the time you could spend decoding or kiting, which are both more useful. Next is Lawyer. He is the last character in C tier. His playstyle revolves around co-op decoding, and co-op decoding just isn't viable in high tier play because the goal is to cipher rush. And what that means is you just want like 4 ciphers done in 1 minute, because it takes around 60 seconds, a little bit more, to finish a cipher. So you want 4 ciphers done. Of course, that's usually not going to happen. It will usually have like 2 ciphers done in that time, and then the last 2. But the only time you co-op decode is on the last cipher. So for a character's playstyle to completely revolve around a tactic that's just not used, that's why he's in C tier. Okay, now to B tier. The worst character in B tier is, let's see, probably not the worst. They're probably all around the same, but it's Doctor. Yeah, I'll go with her. It's Doctor. She's used the least amount in high tier in B tier because her healing, just the time you don't. It's a high tier. You should be able to kite, so you shouldn't need to always heal yourself up. You should be able to not take hits. And in terms of rescuing, Coordinator does that job better than Doctor. And if you want to heal yourself, you can use Mechanic to do that, or just get a syringe in a treasure chest. So Doctor is definitely fun. She's definitely really strong in low tier play and really good there, but because of her vaulting decrease, that's what hurts her in high tier and makes her an easy target for hunters. Next is Cowboy. He's the newest character to come out. And he's in B tier because he's just not that good overall. Once again, a lot of his playstyle revolves around co-op decoding, which is not viable. On top of that, he's a nice rescuer, but if you want to rescue, you should use Coordinator or Forward. And his decreased decoding speed is what hurts him. That's what makes him B tier. If he had regular decoding speed, he could be used in high tier play and would be A or S tier. But the 10% makes the difference when every second counts, as it does in tier 5, tier 6. So every second counts, and the 10% decoding speed decrease is what makes him B tier. Next is Mercenary. He recently got a buff, which is basically like a built-in tie turner. He can take 3 hits now. I don't see him much in high tier play, but I do see a lot of Chinese players use him on the global version in high tier play. I've faced many Chinese players that use Mercenary, and he's actually not awful. The reason why is because if you chase Mercenary, you're just wasting so much time, because even if you do get the 2 hits on him, which is difficult with how good of an evader he is, but even if you do get the 2 hits on him, then you have to wait 30 seconds to then put him on the rocket chair, which is like half of a cipher. And then when you finally put him on, then the Coordinator can save, or you have to wait out his rocket chair if you're camping, and you shouldn't camp a Mercenary. So it made no sense to ever go after him. And then, so that means he's always going to be in the game till the end, basically. So then he's a great rescuer, and he can take many hits. So then when he goes for the rescue, there's not much you can do, and he even counters the tension. And if you hit him with the tension, he will still survive. So like, you could have someone, it could be a tie, or you could even be winning the game in this match. And let's say the exit gates are open, you got the other people out, and you're winning, and you have this person, you're camping them to win. The Mercenary can literally come, take the detention hit, save his teammate using tie turner, and then they just escape through the exit gate. So that's why he actually is used by many Chinese players in the global version, high tier. I've seen it a lot, and it can work. His main downside is his decoding speed decrease, and that hurts a lot. That hurts him a lot right now. Once the weather system gets put in place, that will help him out. But for right now, that does put him at B tier. Next, we have Lucky Guy. He got a buff. Also, it's a really good buff. He has no downsides. He can wish for anything, and he's just a really good character. There's nothing wrong with him. There's nothing too great about him either, and that's why he's in B tier. There's no reason to pick him over any other character. He can fit any role. But yeah, there's not much to say about him. He's a good character. He's just not. When you need specific roles, as in high tier play against these hunters, you need people who do specific things. That versatility, that type of versatility, I should say, doesn't do much. Next is A tier. The bottom of A tier is Priestess. She is not used much in high tier play at all, but I am putting her at A tier because this is my own opinion. I don't look at her as to be that bad of a character. I actually think she's really good. Her healing bonuses are nice. It's not great, but it's nice. A nice little perk to have. Her vaulting speed, I couldn't care less about that, because with her portals, that makes her the best kiter in the game, really, besides forward, in my opinion, because you can just do so much. And once you master a priestess's portals, the hunter will have a horrible time trying to chase you. And then her decoding speed decrease is not as drastic as it may seem, 15%, because she triggers 30% more calibrations, and when you do the testing in the live game, that only accounts for 5 more seconds, which every second counts. But 5 seconds isn't the worst thing ever. So I am putting her at A tier, even though she's not used that much in high tier in either global or China. But because I'm taking my liberty of this being my own list, and I do believe her to be a viable character. Next you have 3 characters. You have Forward. Okay, he can come as a shock to most global high tier players. He's not used that much in global high tier, except for Chinese players I've ran into. Many Chinese players who use Forward in the global version, and overall he's just a good character. He's a disruption, and they run coordinator and Forward, and the team is near unstoppable because you can't put anyone on a chair because he's going to rush into you, and many of them you can't even drop the character. You can't drop fast enough. Like, I will mash the button to drop it, and you still can't do it, so then you have to waste your time chasing after him, and that's never a good idea because you aren't going to end up actually getting the Forward. So, and I watch many Chinese streams on CC. Can't think of the other websites I watch on, but and he is used a lot. I see him all the time. I play the Chinese game. Both top 2 survivors in the entire game, because they have like 88 stars, tier 6, 88 stars. They both main him. Yeah, he's a great character. There's nothing you could say like, oh no, the decoding speed, it doesn't matter that much. And he's a great addition to coordinator, because coordinator can keep decoding at normal speed for a lot longer with a Forward, because he'll keep knocking them out of the balloons, and that helps the coordinator decode a lot more. And then when she's finally needed, like let's say now you finally put them in the chair after all this time, and after you've been cipher rushed all this time, Now you just swap spots. The forward will decode, who will be 3 times faster than, let's say, the coordinator decoding with someone on a rocket chair, and then the coordinator shoots, gets the person out. So that's why he's A tier. He's a very good character. I am dropping him from S tier just because I know a lot of people had a problem with it, so I'll put him in A tier. Next is the Mind's Eye. She's used a good amount in global version, not too much, but she is used. You will see her. She's also used a lot in Chinese play. I believe the number 1 team, I watched it. It was the number 1 survivor team versus the number 1 hunter. Number 1 hunter was using Smiley, 100 something stars, and the number 1 team was using coordinator, forward, Mind's Eye, mechanic, and that's a really popular team over there to have forward and coordinator, and then the 2 decoders, because they can kite. They're so good they can kite with Mind's Eye. Like, they could kite a clown with Mind's Eye for the whole match, and I'm talking about the number 1 hunter type. So Mind's Eye is useful. Her decoding speed is it's the best buff in the game. It's nothing else you could say. It's the best buff in the game. High tier is all about cipher rushing, and she does it better than anyone else, and that's why she's A tier. She's not higher because of her downsides, of her vaulting speed, of her not being able to see, and her perk of being able to reveal the hunter doesn't do too much if you are already in Discord talking over voice chat. You don't really need that perk that much. And last in A tier, the highest in A tier is Thief. I have an A tier, and the global version probably be S tier, top of S tier. You see him all the time, near every match, except for the top team. When I go against the top team as a top hunter in global, or it's a Chinese team, they don't even use Thief. They use 2 perfumers, coordinator, and mech. So that just shows you right there, Thief is really not in that top meta. He's not in the top meta in China. Even the top of global, he isn't in the meta. But a lot of top 100 survivors do like to use him a lot. He's a direct counter to Geisha. Great vaulting speed, great decoding. Nothing. He has no downsides. And what's not to like about Thief? And he really could be S tier, but he doesn't do anything too special. And high tier hunters will be able to get a Thief out, because he doesn't have anything like Perfumer or Magician that helps him kite even better, or helps him when you finally get the hit. Like, Perfumer will just heal back, or Magician will do the illusion. Thief doesn't have anything like that, so that makes him susceptible to blinks, and makes him susceptible to being the first person out. And he's also not a great rescuer either, while Magician and Perfumer can both rescue to a degree, especially Perfumer. So that's why Thief just doesn't bring the versatility that those 2 bring, and that's why he's in A tier. Okay, last is S tier. These are the top characters in both the global version and the Chinese version of the game. And let's start off with... We'll start off with Mechanic. Okay, Mechanic is an S tier. She's an S tier at my first tier list. She's in S tier now. The reason being is, 1, her decoding speed's great. 35%, and I don't think global version survivors are good enough yet to keep the 35% buff up for a long time. When I usually play hunter against them, I'm able to easily get that first hit to take away the 35% bonus. But even then, because of her recent buff, now she decodes 25% faster at all times, which was a big hit to Mind's Eye, but also helps out Mechanic now because she always decodes 25% faster. Plus, she can decode 35% faster in some instances. The exit gates will always be open with her because you just put the doll at the exit gates and they open. She can help in rescues to take the hits. She can take clown dashes. She can face tank hits by summoning the doll at the right time. She can heal herself up with the doll. She can double decode with the doll. She can remotely decode with it. It's just that this is the type of versatility that helps out in high tier play. Having 5 survivors, just having another survivor really hurts out. Like, you can't, if you are trying to camp a mechanic late, I can't even go after like a coordinator. Let's say the gates are open. I know I can go after someone and try and get the win or get the tie. I can't do that because she's going to instantly save herself with her robot. She can also decode while on a chair, which is great. So even though she's on a chair, you think, oh, only 3 people are decoding. No, 4 people are decoding because she's still decoding. She is so versatile. She is definitely S tier. What she provides, no other survivor in the game does, and that's why she's S tier. Her only downside is, of course, her vaulting speed, which does hurt, but if you get good at kiting, then you should be fine. And even if you do get taken, the great thing is she can still decode 25% faster than everyone while on a rocket chair. So that should tell you enough about her. Next is, let's go to Perfumer. Perfumer is a new character. She's S tier, a great kiter, a nice rescuer if she has to rescue, and a good decoder. Her only downsides are things that don't really matter too much in high tier. It's the calibration misses, which you shouldn't really be missing calibrations. And it's also her healing time, which does hurt, but you just use borrow time on her for when the gates are open. Plus, you can heal yourself up if you get hit with her perfume, so that's why it doesn't matter about her healing speed decrease. Although making it take longer for her to be healed up. She's a great kiter. You can finally get that hit on her, but guess what? You didn't because she got healed up. She can put her perfume, she vaults, you vault, and then she goes back. Like, let's say it's on the boat, not the boat, but in Lakeside, the place where there's a big ramp and then a place to vault over, she can put her perfume before the ramp, vault over it, make the hunter vault, and then she will just go back there. Or let's say you don't vote because you don't want her to do that. Now she just got 5 seconds of time to run away from you. So she has no downsides. Great kiter, great decoder, good rescuer. She's S tier. There's nothing wrong with her, so she's S tier. She's used a lot in both global and China. Next is Magician. He's also S tier. He was A tier in my original list, but now I've moved him above Thief. It's because, okay, let's see, he's a great decoder and a great kiter and a average rescuer. He can be used for rescues. It's not a great rescuer, but the illusion, if you absolutely have to rescue, he can be used. If you use it in the right place. So let's say a coordinator comes and you're distracted by her, so then you don't even notice the magician. He can then use his illusion to save his teammate while being invisible. So he can rescue in some instances, and he can take clown dashes. He's a direct counter to Smiley, who is the #1 hunter in the game. So that's great. And then he kites great, but similar to Perfumer, when you finally think you got that hit, you really didn't because he used his wand. Or let's say you blink and you think you're going to hit him. If it's a good magician, he can have the reflexes to use the wand just in time so that your blink didn't work out. He has 2 downsides. One of his downsides is his time to be rescued. This is a big downside. I won't lie, it is. And but if you have a coordinator come shoot the flare gun save, you should be fine off. Also, if you're playing magician, you should be a skilled enough kiter so that you don't get taken within the first 2 seconds of the game. If you're going to get taken within the first 2 seconds of the game, don't use magician. You have to be a skilled kiter to use him. And his second downside is also when he goes in his wand, he can be terror shocked. Against people, Geisha, against a hunter like Geisha, this isn't a big downside because it's really hard to get a terror shock while he's invisible because of his movement speed buff. With Geisha, with Smiley, you can do it if you lead it a little bit, but probably the only top hunter that really benefits off of this is Feaster. I terror shock magicians all the time with Feaster because of his long attack range. You can use the wand at the perfect time, and I can still terror shock you through it. I was facing this one magician that he was really good. As soon as you start up your hit, he would use it. But then I thought to myself, instead of hitting at him, let me hit to the right side of him. So he's going to use the illusion, and then I'll get the terror shock. And just like that, it worked. I got the terror shock. So that's his only other downside. But overall, he's a great character. Very similar to Perfumer. And the most vital character in the game, the most used character in the game, both global and China, definitely S tier, probably best character in the game is Coordinator. She's number one character used global, China, it doesn't matter. You won't face a team that doesn't have a coordinator. It's because she decodes great, nice vaulting speed buff, great kiter, and she's the only character in the game who can pull off the rescue she does. If you're facing a feaster, don't even try going for a rescue unless you have a coordinator. Don't even try because you're going to get taken. Coordinator, the rescues, people are eventually going to get put in a rocket ship, and you will have to make at least one save per game in high tier play, and that one save needs to always work. And Coordinator is the only survivor that will always work. She'll always make the save, and that's why she's so good. The only counters to Coordinator are one, excitement. But if you make a hunter use excitement for one shot, only one shot, he's using it for that one shot, the coordinator comes, guess what? Now that Geisha doesn't have teleport. Guess what? Now that Smiley doesn't have blink. That Feaster doesn't have blink. So that's a fine trade-off. Okay? And also Feaster, when I play, I'm able... Coordinators don't scare me as much as Feaster because literally I put my tentacle in front of the chair, and then I would say 75% of the time the shot misses me. 75% of the time it misses me because I always bait the gun, it misses, and then I hit them with the tentacle, and then I'll get the second hit if I did it correctly. So most of the time they miss the shot, and that's the only downside to coordinator is when you miss your shot, but that's on you. You shouldn't have used the shot. And many times I can put survivors and coordinators in bad positions because of my tentacle. But overall, if you miss your shot as coordinator, you shouldn't be playing coordinator, to be honest. And you just have to know when you make the shot, you honestly should be right in front of the hunter, like directly at them, and just shoot them. The stun time's so long, it's insane, and that's why Coordinator is the number one character in this tier list. She is S tier. She was S tier on my first tier list. Most used character, global and China. Okay, so if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you found it informative or helpful in any way, please give it a like. If you want to see more videos like this, in the future. A 100 tier list video, an updated one will come out, but it's probably not going to be for like a month or so, because ever since then only one new hunter has came out and no new balance changes to the global version, so there's no reason to make it. If you want to know the change, it's Feaster, he's an S tier, so that's the only change to the hunter tier list, so there's no real reason to make that now. So if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe. We're on hashtag grow to 1,000 subscribers. We're about to hit 800. I know we can hit 1,000 in a couple weeks, in a week, in a couple of days even. The army is strong. The alien army is definitely strong. And that'll be all for the video. Bye.